dead meme.
Today, we're going to go back for more Avorion. We're going to hunt down Captain Swoks in order to get the Xsotan artifact. The XSTN-III is, I believe, the one that we get from this guy. So this is a combat-related mission. So I'm going to show you basically how to prepare for it. I'm going to use a ship that has no shields because it can be easily accomplished with basically a titanium age vessel. We're going to get a little bit into what kind of stats and stuff you might be looking for momentarily. But I'm going to start the journey on how to find this guy. So I have myself an allied shipyard, and I am going to buy a faction map. Now, this is not necessary. This is mostly to illustrate the mechanics of how the actual, how spawning this guy actually works. And if we can get the faction map. Alright, so we've used a faction map. It'll slowly populate all of this in for me so that I can demonstrate the mechanics on how to spawn this guy. Isn't that's pretty cool? I like that. Alright, so now we know what territory is claimed by this particular faction. The reason this matters is because this pirate boss will not spawn inside of territory that is considered owned by a faction. So I'm not sure if this includes a player faction, but if you have territory at this stage of the game in the Titanium Age, yeah, good for you. You're killing it. Alright, so if we select our ship here, we can see how much hull and my firepower and things like that, right? So as you can see, I've got 12k hull. That's pretty decent. And almost 600 Omicron. At this level, that's relatively high. You're probably going to be closer to 350. Omicron is basically another way of saying DPS. So basically, now what we need to do is travel throughout the unexplored space or the unclaimed territories within the territory boundaries of Titanium. So if you're seeing Neonite, you've gone too far. If you don't see any Titanium, you're too far to the outside of the galaxy. I'm going to put a link down in the description that goes to the wiki that will tell you the exact ring in which to look for this guy. But I know he spawns in this region. This is where I literally fought him like 2 hours ago. So I'm just going to pop him in and show you how to handle this. Alright, since your ship will be going into battle, especially to accomplish this particular Xsotan artifact, I would like to just briefly go over how to improve the strength of your ship and how to make sure that you're ready for the onslaught, because there are a lot of pirates involved. So in a sector that's got a shipyard, let's look at our integrity field. And make sure that the vast majority of your ship, bare minimum, is covered by this integrity field. It'll basically make it significantly more difficult to destroy your ship. It improves the durability, and the blocks are much less likely to be blasted off. Because if you lose parts of your ship, like imagine you lose power generator, good luck continuing the fight, you know? So keep that in mind. So make sure your integrity field generator is good as well. If you go into your eye menu, you could look at the turrets that you've got equipped, and you can right-click and even say replace, but you're going to have to search by material. This is a titanium age vessel. Most of this equipment will not be usable, so if I scroll way down, I'll start getting to some things that I can actually equip. So this turret is better than the one I've got, right? And same thing here. I would rather replace this one, though. And that will bring up your Omicron, which is a fancy way of saying DPS. But one thing to keep in mind, these weapons, certain types of damage affect shields and hull differently. So going overboard with like lasers and whatnot will make you ruin shields, but you're not going to do much damage versus hulls. So having a bolter or a chain gun or like one of these cannons, these are great tools to have to balance out your vessel, especially if you're by yourself, because, you know, You could have an anti-shield ship or fighters, and then have powerful cannons on the vessel or another. So to keep that in mind, as well, if your hull value is low, this ship's got 12k hull, that's pretty good. You could get this guy out of the workshop. It's their industries. It's a Carnage class vessel. But again, too, in the build menu, you can simply increase the hull value of a ship, or its how much health it has, by adding blank hull blocks and increasing the mass of the vessel. And of course, there's armor blocks, which also do something similar. Armor blocks will provide you with more protection against certain kinds of weapons, but we're getting really, really advanced. So just be concerned with maybe increasing the hull of your vessel, upgrading iron to titanium, so your ship will be lighter, it'll gain more hit points. Alright, so I've jumped into the first unclaimed system. There is, I guess you could consider it a pity timer. Every 10 jumps, from what I understand, he is supposed to definitely spawn. So I'm just going to keep jumping from one sector to another until eventually it triggers. So it's not a complicated idea, but we'll be back. Alright, here we go. Less than 10 jumps, and we found him. So basically, it'll open a dialogue. I don't think there's anything you can say to escape this. There's also an option to pay him. I've never done it. Like, see here, like, yeah. Alright, so we're gonna find him. This ship is a little bit underpowered. Where is he? That's probably him. I do recommend having some sort of point defense. But as you can see, the durability of the ship might be enough. There he is, to survive the onslaught. So all you gotta do is just knock this guy out, and you'll be able to loot the item and even escape, because they don't jam your hyperspace, which is pretty funny. And there it is. So I guess I'll just mop him up, and maybe I'll cut this in post, but it's always fun. Alright, that's it. As you can see, I'm down to 11.3k for hull strength. I had 12 in the beginning, so a titanium age vessel can pull this fight off. You may not have a ship this tough then, but that's hopefully enough to give you an idea of how tough to build up your ship. And they don't jam your hyperspace, so you can escape. This relic that's dropped, you may want to consider farming this guy, because the how useful the equipment is, like the plus 10 to armed slots, especially at this point in the game, is pretty good. And you'll also need a Xsotan artifact in order to engage one of the other bosses. So this is probably the first one you'll get, because it's well, you don't need millions of dollars, unlike one that I'm probably going to be covering very shortly. But anyway, thanks for showing up, guys. Hopefully I get a like, a sub, and share, or you share this with someone who could use it. And while we're here, we'll shill the videos that I've been making. I've got some videos regarding Avorion's economy. It'll show you how to make these big numbers, like the 3 billion credits and the 10 million Avorion. If you want that stuff, I've got a playlist. Some of it will be in the description. And thanks for showing up.